Pope Francis has been hailed for his final miracle after a meeting between the US president and Volodymyr Zelensky has seen Trump turn his back on Putin as he accused the Kremlin leader of stringing him along over peace talks. Ahead of the Catholic leader's funeral today, Zelensky and Trump had a short talk ahead of the late Catholic leader's funeral, marking their first encounter since their disastrous White House clash. Talks between the two world leaders are said to have been very productive today, according to White House Communications Director Stephen Chung, with Zelensky later taking to X, echoing his hopes for results on their discussions. Protecting lives of our people, full and unconditional ceasefire, reliable and lasting peace that will prevent another war from breaking out, he wrote. Very symbolic meeting that has potential to become historic if we achieve joint results. It comes amid tense discussions between the two countries as the U.S. attempts broker a peace deal with Russia, with Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff welcomed by Putin at the Kremlin earlier this week. Following the pair's meeting at the Vatican today, Donald Trump has since seemingly turned against Putin as he accused the Russian leader of stringing him along over peace talks to bring the Russo-Ukraine conflict to an end. There was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas, cities and towns over the last few days. It makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. He's just tapping me along and has to be dealt with differently. Trump posted on Truth Social today. The various ways he suggested to deal with Putin included banking and secondary sanction. I know too many people are dying, Trump wrote, referring to the Russian military strikes in Ukraine this week that killed dozens of people and destroyed buildings. Imposing further sanctions on Russia is something that could happen in the future, seeing as 25 Democrats and 25 Republicans in the Senate agreed to introduce a bill earlier this month that would do just that. Trump's suggestion that Putin doesn't want the war to end came after the longtime Russian leader welcomed U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff in Moscow. Witkoff was reportedly there to discuss a U.S. brokered peace plan for Ukraine for weeks. Trump has been demanding an end to the fighting, even hinting on Friday that a deal between the two warring nations could be close. Earlier this week, Trump slammed Zelensky for rejecting out of hand any deal that would allow Russia to retain control of Crimea, a peninsula it illegally annexed in 2014. However, it seems that Trump and Zelensky have mended things in the days since, with both men describing their talk in Vatican City in positive terms. Zelensky thanked Trump, calling the meeting good and symbolic. The Ukrainian president added that he is hoping for results on everything we covered. He said this included protecting lives of our people, full and unconditional ceasefire, reliable and lasting peace that will prevent another war from breaking out. Zelensky said his meeting with Trump has the potential to become historic if we achieve joint results. Trump souring on Putin as a peace partner is a remarkable shift in tone since February, when he told reporters that Ukraine had 3 years to end the war. You should have never started it, he said about Ukraine while US-led peace talks were happening in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Days after those talks, which did not include Ukrainian negotiators, Trump invited Zelensky to the White House. Their meeting in the Oval Office devolved into a shouting match. Zelensky angered Trump and Vice President Vance when he made a comment about the U.S. having a nice ocean separating it from conflict. First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have a nice ocean and don't feel it now, but you will feel it in the future. Trump jumped in to say, don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. You're gambling with World War III. Trump bellowed at Zelensky at one point. Trump and Vance repeatedly told Zelensky he wasn't being grateful for the tens of billions of dollars in aid the U.S. has supplied his country for the war effort. After the disastrous showdown, Trump briefly paused intelligence sharing with Ukraine. This was lifted on March 11th, when Kyiv agreed to a 30-day interim ceasefire with Russia that had been proposed by the U.S.